Masking photos is straight up wizardry. You can totally transform your photos, the light, the feel, the color, so easily. In this video, I'm going to show you a few little hot tips on how to mask and make your photos look incredible. All right, so here we are in Lightroom. Got this photo of myself. This was taken in Big Sur in China Cove. Absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite places in the world. But what I love more about this photo is that there's a lot of opportunity to accentuate and edit with masking. To first get started with this, I'm going to add a preset to give us a base for our editing. I'm going to use one of my presets, shameless plug in the description. I'm going to use Deluxe for this one, and we got some dark parts in the shadows, so I'm going to just bring up the exposure and a little bit of our shadows to get us started. We're going to open up the mask panel, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mess with our sky. So I'm going to hit sky and let Adobe AI do its work, and beautifully selects our sky. It's amazing. You used to do this stuff manually, and now it's just one click of the button. I just absolutely love it. What I'm doing with the sky selection is I'm just selecting it and I'm bringing down a little bit of that exposure so that way we can get a little bit more detail in the sky and that it's not too overexposed for the image. A little before, a little after, looking great. The next thing I want to do is mess with this corner over here. This is where the sun was coming through. Obviously that's where it's hitting top of my head, but I want to accentuate and add a little bit of glow to this top left corner of our image. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add a radial gradient, and I'm going to basically make a giant bloom coming from here and adjust the angle a little bit so that it kind of sells the effect a little bit more. And then what we do is we can brighten it up. We can add a little bit of warmth, and we can reduce some of the clarity to add a little bit of a nicer glow. But the problem is when you do this is that it has not only affected the area, it's also starting to affect me as the subject. So what I want to do is I'm going to exclude me as the subject. So what we do is we select our radial mask and we're going to hit the subtract button. So we're going to start with selecting the subject, and by selecting the subject it's removing it because we're subtracting. So we're going to hit that, and AI just does its work, and now I'm cut out of the image. You can even see on the little thumbnail as I hover over, it's no longer including me in the mask. So that way it's still selling the effect that the light is in front of me, peering down onto our scene. And now I'm going to select me, and I'm going to start making changes to me as the subject. What I'm going to do is hit the plus, and then instead of hitting subject, I'm going to select person number 1. And with this, it gives you details on facial skin, body skin, hair, clothes. If you're actually seeing the front of the person, it gives you more options like eyes and teeth and just a ton of stuff. So with this, I'm going to select clothes. I'm going to create that mask, and I'm just going to bring in a little bit more pop, and I want to just modify a little bit of this color. So I could make things go real interesting, but I just want to bring in a little bit more orangey kind of tones to the clothing, to the jacket, warm it up a little bit. We'll bring up some texture. You can see now the jacket and the boots, they're all starting to show a little bit more in the image instead of being more subdued. Another thing that I like to do with certain kind of like landscapes, if I'm trying to draw the attention to a certain way, is I'll add a linear gradient. And what I'll do is I will use this in more of my foreground elements, so it kind of creates a little bit more darkness leading into the light. So you drop down that exposure, and you can see this one just kind of, again, sort of draws your focus in towards the subject. Another thing I want to do is I want to manipulate a little bit of this green color. So what I'm going to do is zoom in here on this green leafy stuff, create a new mask, and we're going to do a color range mask. I'm going to select a little bit of this green, and no, I did not just change the color of the foliage, that is just the selection of this color. So I can go ahead and refine it a little bit more or less. What I'm going to do is add just a touch more of saturation. I think I want to kind of keep this a little bit warmer. That'll just sort of help play with the color on the jacket. think one of the last things that I want to do here now is I want to adjust a little bit of this water. Just kind of looks a little flat in relation to everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one of these color range mask. I'm going to just click on the blue water and refine that until it selects pretty much just the water. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some contrast, give it a little bit more texture. And now that we are 7 masks deep in this edit, I think it's finally done. Let's go ahead and first look at the before image. This is no preset, no mask, no nothing. This was with our initial exposure changes and our preset. And this, bam, is with all of our masks. This is, in my opinion, a much more complete image. Yes, we did a lot to get there, but sometimes you got to do more to get more out of your image. There's a lot of really great tools to help you play with light and color and different textures in your image, and they're really easy to use inside of Lightroom. A lot of times I find personally it's worth going the extra mile to get more out of your image. And ever since I started using more masking in my photo edits, I feel like it's really helped to up my quality overall. But I'm curious to know, do you do masking? Do you integrate all these different kinds? What kind of masks do you use? Which ones are your favorite? I'd be curious to know in the comments down below. And if you got value out of this video, why don't you go ahead and add some value right back to it by hitting that like button. And if you're interested in any more Lightroom content, I've got an entire playlist and other curated videos that you might be interested in, so you should definitely check those out. Well, until the next time, my name is Sopak. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.